Mike over here. What's up, man? I don't know if you've seen the clip going around already, but Charles was in here earlier, and a lot of what he's building this in his mind is Canada versus the U.S. type thing. He's using hashtags like 51st state, free speech, all this stuff on Instagram. He said that he respects that he's in the position he's in because you're the big name in Canada, and that's why you guys are the featured prelims, but he didn't appreciate Canadians booing the national anthem, so someone has to pay. So that is how he is building this fight to himself, so I'm curious, do you have a response to that?
Yeah, man, if he wants to build that extra pressure for himself, or if that's what he needs to do to motivate himself, go for it. For me, I'm focused on the task at hand, which is a fight in the octagon. I'm not focused on all the outside things that you could possibly, focus on as far as all the other stuff that can come into your mind when it comes to fighting, but really doesn't actually affect what happens in the octagon.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like fans don't realize how long you've been in this sport, like not even just fighting, but like with the Alpha Male boys and everything, like you've been around, like Uriah when he had to do this, and the Dillashaws and everything. So do you think like Charles is like, you guys are approaching this two completely different ways. Like to you, this is like an athletic competition. This is what we're going to go out to, and he's building this like he has to defend America against Canada. It's just, I guess, how do you it's like I said, two different ways to approach this. I don't really know how to phrase this, but like, when you see someone doing that, is like, all right, that's just noise that you're bringing in. Like you don't need that. This is just an athletic competition.
Well, that's how I feel about it. Yeah, he's just creating more unnecessary noise. Again, if that's where you want to put your energy, go for it. That's not where I'm putting my energy. I'm putting my energy into the octagon.
And what do you make of his, in terms of just skill set, athletic, what do you make of his skill set in there? Because I guess we asked him about you, and he goes, very similar styles. He feels he has more firepower and more durability than you. So I guess what do you make of just his skill set in there?
Yeah, he's a solid fighter, but I've been fighting solid fighters my entire career. You look at everyone I've fought at welterweight, it's all been killers, nothing short of elite level fighters. So I'm focused again on what I bring to the table. If anything, I know he's kind of a bit of a bull in there, and I have no problem playing the matador if that's how it comes down to it. And I've done a really good job of doing that throughout my career. So I don't see Saturday night being any different.
Will it? I know you said you're just kind of focusing on this, but like with what he's selling the fight, I'm sure it will. Like the Full Send boys approached him, and he was like, 20,000 people are going to be booing you. You're going to be the most booed person in the arena. And he kind of smiled and laughed at that. Win or lose, like it will be the biggest fight probably in terms of like Canadian pride. So does that make a win over him bigger in your mind, because it could propel you into like superstardom, maybe even in America?
I mean, it's definitely a cherry on top, right? For sure. That's an awesome addition to getting the win. But, I mean, let's look at it realistically. It's not like I didn't care about winning without this factor, right? I've cared so much about my career and winning all these fights, even without this type stuff. So again, it's how much do you want to focus on it? And that's cool. If somebody else wants to focus on it a lot, I'd rather stay dialed into what I need to do on Saturday night rather than build up outside factors.
And then just last one for me. What do you make of the welterweight title fight at the top of the card between Bilal and Jack?
I think that's an incredible matchup. It's cool. They've got such a stacked pay-per-view card for Canada. As far as like who I think is going to win it, again, man, I haven't put any thought into that matchup at all. Still just dialed in on my performance on Saturday night, focused on having the best performance in my career to date.
Mike, right here. To your, there we go. How different is the feel going into this one compared to the Trevin Giles fight, where you were maybe coming off a loss and maybe had a little more you wanted to prove or wanted to show, or is there any difference?
I mean, man, you want to prove every time. It's like every fight you have to win. Every fight's the most important fight of your career, right? So, there's always, there's always a lot on the line. Like I said, every fight's the most important fight of your career. So to me, right now, this is the most important fight of my career to date. And every fight feels unique in its own way, but there's a lot of similarities. And just focus on the process, man, and happy with how the preparation went for this one. So feeling very, very confident going into this fight.
And then growing up an Ontario kid right down the road, you had the ACC, and for hockey, and for a Toronto fan, that's the venue. But when we talk about MMA with the GSP era, it might actually be Montreal that really is the kind of venue and the building for MMA in Canada. So is it nice to get a chance to finally fight here?
Yeah, this will be a cool check on off the bucket list. As far as big arenas and big cities to fight in. I've never competed or coached in Montreal before, which is actually that's not true. I competed in jiu-jitsu one time, 12, 14 years ago, something like that, a long time ago. But yeah, this is an iconic stadium. This is an iconic fight city. I think if there's any city in Canada that is the fight city, probably is Montreal. It was illegal in Ontario for the longest time while I was growing up, so pretty much everybody who fought regionally fought out of Montreal primarily. So, yeah, again, a really cool little cherry on top and a nice little notch on the bucket list.
Very cool. And last one, completely unrelated to fighting, but I got to get your thoughts on that hit in the Leafs game by Bennett, and do you think he should have been suspended for that?
Are you talking about the guy hitting the goalie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked... I don't know. It didn't look that bad until he went down. It was. It's hard to say. The guy's digging in front of the net, right? Obviously, as a lifelong Leafs fan, other than when my brother's playing for the Kings, I'm rooting for the Leafs, so I want to side with the Leafs on that one and be yeah, there definitely should have been a penalty. But it's hard to say. It didn't look malicious. It just looked, unfortunate.
What's your prediction for the series?
Leafs, baby. Let's go.
Thanks.
Mike, right here, brother. Let's kind of go back to that. We'll start off with that. Who has the better hands right now? Your brother in the NHL or you?
You talking about dangles with the puck, or are you talking about throwing hands?
We're talking
About the silky mitts on the fucking ice there, bud, or are we talking about fighting?
There's the Canadian coming out. I appreciate that. No, we're talking, throwing hands.
My brother's a beast, man. He's a unit, but come on, man. There's a reason I'm in the UFC.
So Charles said some things. He said some things when he was in here, right? But he did acknowledge you, and he said, Mike's put me in a position to have a lot of eyes on me this weekend because the fight's in Canada. He said, I don't know if a lot of people are going to be buying the pay-per-view, but I appreciate the fact that we're on the early prelims. So what do you think the reception's going to be when you walk out there? Is he going to get booed out of the arena? What are we going to expect?
I mean, if what you guys have been saying is true and the fans are aware of that, I'd imagine, yeah, he'll probably get booed quite a bit. And I'm a lot more focused on the warm reception that I assume I'll be getting, man. Every time I walk out there, it feels like I'm the main event every time I'm there. Just every time I walk out, I get warmly received by the fans, and there's nothing but love. And I look out in the audience, and there's tons of Canadian flags, and see people wearing my T-shirts and stuff, and that puts me in a good place heading into the octagon.
And obviously, like you said, the Canadian side of you is here, the polite guy, the respectful guy. But when he comes in here and he drops a couple F-bombs, and he makes some comments about full send, he makes some comments about Canada. Does that come out in the octagon, or is there going to be, something said to him before the fight, or is that going to be after the fight? When does that side come out of you?
Look, man, he's a grown man. I'm a grown man. I'm not going to try and control what another adult man is saying. That's not my style. I'm going to go out there and put on the performance of a lifetime. And if my track record is any indication of what I'm capable of on Saturday night, which I think it is a very good indication of what I'm capable of, I've finished almost everybody I've fought. So I'm one of the most dangerous guys in the division. I'm one of the most dangerous guys in the UFC. I can finish fights with punches, kicks, knees, elbows. I can finish fights with strangles. And I showed in my last fight I can pick somebody apart for 15 minutes. So I've just added a new arsenal to my game and a new level of confidence going into this fight.
And then when he questions your character, he says things like, he can never forget that feeling of when he was laying there staring up at the ceiling, in his home country and things like that. What's your comment on that?
Man, it seems like we're both really focused on me. You know what I mean? That's what I think about that. I don't care what this guy's doing. It's cool, man. You're a solid fighter, dude. Everybody in the UFC is a solid fighter. Every fight moving forward should be the toughest guy I've ever fought, and this guy might be one of the best guys I've ever fought. But you know, I'm focused on myself. I'm focused on my process. I'm with my team. I've had the best camp of my life. I'm the most prepared I've ever been. I'm the best I've ever been. I'm the most dangerous I've ever been. I feel pretty calm right now, dude. You got a mic. You got bright lights on me. My pulse is, sitting at, 50 beats per minute. Dude, I feel calm. I feel ready to go. I feel ready to pick this guy apart, and I feel ready to do my thing in there.
Final message for the Canadian fans showing up, coming to cheer you on this weekend, and maybe a final message for Charles Radke.
Yeah, I'll stick to the Canadian fans, man. I love you guys. Appreciate the support. I always come to put a show on, and, I come to represent you guys best I can. Let's go.
Just one last, one last quick one. Is it a bit of a missed opportunity? He was asked this as well. Is it a bit of a missed opportunity to not have you guys on the press conference tomorrow? I mean, they're probably, from what I'm hearing, there probably would have been some words exchanged, so maybe a little bit. But I think being the featured prelim is a pretty cool opportunity too, where we're going to be on Sportsnet and we're going to be potentially more accessible to fans rather than having to pay for the pay-per-view. So might get some more eyes on us. So it's just yeah. At the end of the day, like I said, I feel like the show's about me each time I get in there. It's about my performance, and I'm focused on myself. So whether we're the first early prelim on Fight Pass or we're the main event, it doesn't really matter to me.
Mike right here. Speaking with you before and after your last fight, obviously coming off that Neil Magny loss, it seemed like there was a lot of tension there. There was a lot of pressure on yourself to go back out and get that win, get back into the win column. If you were to compare the preparation for that fight in Edmonton to the preparation for this fight here in Montreal, do you see similarities? Are you putting equal pressure on yourself to kind of continue on and put a run together now?
Well, like I said, man, every fight's the most important fight of your career. It's not like, I'm coming off a win, so it's not as important to get another win. Like, you have to win every fight, man. Every fight is the most important fight of your career. So preparation for this one, there's a lot of similarities as far as preparation, but yeah, all I can say is feeling good, feeling dialed.
Thank you.